Hello YouTube, hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I wanted to read in October, but it's just not happened. But still, I think that they're fantastic book recommendations, all spooky, horror, really kind of just, yeah, horror vibes. And obviously we've spoken about it before, you know I love horror. So yeah, there's basically just, I've got a huge selection of books here that I wanted to get to. Yeah, I'm like not even halfway through the list, but it's fine. I still want to recommend them to you because I think that they're going to be really fantastic reads that I've not obviously read yet. So if you do enjoy this video, please like, comment and subscribe. Please comment any videos you'd like to see down below. I read every single comment. Let's just dive right into some spooky book recommendations. All right. Okay, so I actually am a huge nerd. Go figure. This is really embarrassing. So I put all of my books into a spreadsheet. Focus now, there we go. Basically, it's just a huge nerdy spreadsheet of all the books that I wanted to read in October. There is 25 books on this list, and I will be talking about all 25 books. But yeah, I think I've read 4 so far, and I'm in the middle of 6. Which seems ridiculous, but I am in the middle of 6 books as well. So I'm hoping I'll read like 12 maybe this month, but we'll see. We are currently on, what's the date? It's the 23rd of October. Wow, I thought it was like the 18th. So yes, I have 25 really good spooky horror books to talk about. Some of them are halfway through, like I said, so I'll probably start with those because I can give the best kind of review of what's going on. But the very first book I'm going to talk about is Rosemary's Baby, and this is by Ira Levin. This is one of the ones I've started. I'm only on page 66, but I've really enjoyed it so far. It's about a couple that move into this really old apartment building, basically apartment complex. They're in New York City. Yeah, this wonderful couple move into this old world apartment and they're doing it up and they're really happy to be there. But there's a couple of neighbors who live next door to them and they just get a little bit too involved in their life. They give off really kind of creepy, unnerving vibes. And yeah, like I said, I'm only 66 pages into it. And obviously nothing has happened yet, but just the vibes I'm getting from this couple is it's just not good. Like, if I were in the main couple's situation, I would straight off be like, what is going on here? I'm not enjoying this, you know, just really too involved in their life when they're still practically strangers. From what I know, this is what I've not read, I'm guessing they have a baby and this older couple next door get a little bit too involved with the baby. I get the feeling like it's some kind of demonic cult thing going on, especially because, as you can see, there's a little devil tail poking out the crib. Yeah, so that's the kind of vibe I'm getting. I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, he's really good at just creating a really kind of unnerving atmosphere in a relatively normal setting. You know, it's just a nice old-fashioned apartment complex. Like, there's nothing that would be weird, but this couple is just so, yeah, like I say, it's so unnerving and it makes me so uncomfortable reading about them. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this so far. So that is number 1 of the 25 books that I wanted to read. I will read this one. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying it so far. Second book that I am actually currently reading, and this is This House is Haunted by John Boyne. He is also the author of The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, which, if you've ever read that, is absolutely fantastic book. I love anything that's kind of similar to The Woman in Black, Victorian old houses with ghosts and things like that. It's my jam, and this is completely it. This is just hitting the spot. It's about a young governess who takes on a job a week after losing her father. So she's kind of in that mourning shock period, and she takes on a job as a governess in a house. She shouldn't have taken this job. It's a very weird situation. It's kind of more mystery than horror at the minute. I'm kind of getting that mystery vibe, but you're just basically trying to figure out what's going on. And there's 2 young children in this house that she is governessing for. And yeah, it's just really spooky, eerie. It's a fantastic mystery so far. I'm really enjoying it. Okay, my camera just fell over. Pretty sure it was ghosts. Okay, so yes, back to This House is Haunted. It's just a classic Victorian ghost story. Big mansion, couple of creepy kids. She's very much kind of isolated in this house. There's no one else around. There's no parents or other kind of people in the house. It's literally just her and a couple of creepy kids, and there's just weird stuff going on in the house. It's a really good mystery. I'm really enjoying it so far. Yeah, and I would really recommend it. And also, I just get good vibes from the cover. I say good vibes, I mean like spooky vibes. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, I'm also part of the way through this classic. This is obviously It by Stephen King. I'm actually reading on Kindle just because it's a 1,000 page book, so I just would have found it very challenging to read it in this format. So I'm reading it on my Kindle so I can read it at night as well. Really trying to make a big dent into it. I think I've just hit almost halfway. I'm like 450, 500 pages the way through. It's just an absolute classic. If you haven't seen the movies as well, which are phenomenal, I absolutely adore the movies. Yeah, it's about this creature, It, this thing that takes on basically the aspect of whoever is in front of it, their worst fear. It's very gruesome. There are a lot of deaths, go figure. And it's just, yeah, a bunch of young kids trying to tackle this monster in their town of Maine. It's fantastic. It gives real, definitely gives like Stranger Things vibes. So if you enjoyed that TV show, I would definitely recommend this. It does flick between them as children and then again as adults. It's an absolute classic. I'm really enjoying it, but yeah, it is a big book. I know it doesn't look massive, but it is 1,000 pages. Yeah, it's a big boy. But I'm really enjoying it so far. But be warned, a lot of trigger warnings in this. A lot of trigger warnings in most of these books. It is horror. It's kind of part of what horror is. So yeah, please look up trigger warnings before you read any of these. But yes, that is another one that I'm halfway through and I'm really enjoying. What else am I reading at the minute? Oh, I'm listening to an audiobook, and it is called The Lost Village. Yeah, it's called The Lost Village by Camilla Sten. It's based in like a Swedish town. I'm really enjoying this audiobook. It is basically about a lost village in a really isolated area of forest, of woodland, and there were 900 people that lived in this village, and 60 years ago they just all vanished. No one knows what happened to them. They literally just all vanished, and the granddaughter of someone who was living there, but she moved out of town before everyone vanished, so she was able to kind of live on. She's trying to find out what happened in this village, basically, and she's got a group of people to go out and make a docuseries about the town and what happened, and obviously when they're there, things start to happen. It does cut again between then and now, and I really enjoy that because it gives you two different perspectives and it gives you more insight into the things that people are saying now. You know, the group of people that are there, you get to see like the history of what's happened and why this thing is there, and I'm really enjoying it actually. I kind of picked it up as like a last minute, just I wanted to listen to an audiobook because I didn't have one in all of my choices. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I think I'm like 50% away through that as well, and I am loving it. So I definitely recommend that. I'm really enjoying it. There is another book, and I did actually finish this one. It's only like 80 pages? 78 pages on ebook, so it's kind of like a short novella style. But it's called Sour Candy by Keelan Patrick Burke. Pretty sure I said his first name wrong. I do apologise. Sour Candy was weird. It was I don't want to say what it's about because I'm worried I might spoil it because it's just such a short book that just so much happens in such a short period of time. I'm going to get the synopsis up for it because I know I'm going to spoil it by trying to explain it. So, at first glance, Phil Pendleton and his son Adam are just an ordinary father and son. No different from any other. They take walks in the park together, visit country fairs, museums and zoos, and eat together overlooking the lake. Some might say the father is a little too accommodating, given the lack of discipline when the child loses his temper in public. Some might say he spoils his son by allowing him to set his own bedtimes and eat candy whenever he wants. Some might say that such leniency is starting to take its toll on the father, given how his health has declined. What no one knows is that Phil is a prisoner, and that up until a few weeks ago and a chance encounter at a grocery store, he had never seen the child before in his life. There we go. That is a synopsis. Basically, this child just takes over people's lives and becomes theirs. And yeah, I would really recommend it. It is a really spooky, just unnerving, atmospheric book. You like those kind of short novellas, it's really, really good. Yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I read it in one sitting and it was really kind of spooky, and yeah, the ending, I did not see it coming at all. The ending completely just threw a curveball. I did not see it coming at all, but I really enjoyed it. So those are all of the books that I'm currently reading. There's another like 20 books that I'm going to quickly zip through. Yeah, I haven't started any of these yet, but I did want to read them all, but I know I'm not going to. Okay, so first off is an absolute classic, and it is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Now, Shirley Jackson is an absolute classic writer in the horror genre. She was actually the person who also wrote The Haunting of Hill House, which I imagine a lot of you have heard of because it was made into a fantastic TV show, and I did watch that and it was fantastic, and I actually kind of enjoyed the TV show more than the book. I'm sorry, but the book was fantastic, but yeah, the TV show was excellent. So yes, this is We Have Lived in the Castle. So I'm going to quickly read the synopsis to you because obviously I haven't read this book and I don't really I know the gist of it, but I don't really know specifics. Living in the Blackwood family home with her only sister Constance and her uncle Julian for company, Mary Cat just wants to preserve their delicate way of life. But ever since Constance was acquitted of murdering the rest of the family, the world isn't leaving the Blackwoods alone, and when cousin Charles arrives armed with overtures of friendship and a desperate need to get into the safe, Mary Cat must do everything in her power to protect the remaining family. In her final, greatest novel, Shirley Jackson draws us into a dark, unsettling world of family rivalries, suspense, and exquisite black comedy. Yeah, so that is We Have Always Lived in the Castle, again by Shirley Jackson. I am super excited to read this, and yeah, again, it is another short book. It is only 158 pages, so again, it is a nice, short horror, thriller, mystery, suspense book. So yeah, I did want to read that as well. We shall see. I also wanted to read this. This is Clown in a Cornfield. But look at the cover. Look at that creepy clown in the cornfield. Yeah, this is kind of a YA horror thriller. I get the feeling that it's kind of small American town. A young girl and her father moves into the town and just creepy things are going on. When Quinn and her father move to a tiny town with a weird clown for a mascot, they're looking for a fresh start. But ever since the town's only factory shut down, Kettle Springs has been cracked in half. Most of the town believes that the kids are to blame. After all, the juniors and seniors at Kettle Spring High are the ones who threw the party where Arthur Hill's daughter died. They're the ones who set the abandoned factory on fire and who spend all their time posting pranks on YouTube. They have no respect and no idea what it means to work hard. For the kids, it's the other way around, and now Kettle Springs is caught in a constant battle between old and new tradition and progress. It's a fight that looks like it will destroy the town until one homicidal clown with a pork pie hat and a red nose decides to end it for good. Because if your opponents all die, you win the debate by default. Like, doesn't that just sound like a fantastic book? I've heard great things about it on BookTube. I'm really looking forward to reading it. See, I even put a bookmark in because I was so prepared to read it, but I just haven't had a chance to pick it up yet. But I find clowns spooky. I'm just really looking forward to reading this. I think it's going to be a fantastic classic horror. I really hope I can get to it in October. This is kind of one of the books that is higher on my list of books to read this October. But yeah, I have like 8 days. So we'll see, but if not, I'll probably just end up reading it in November anyway, it's fine. So yeah, this is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. It just sounds bizarre. Basically, the premise of this book, and all I know about it, is that a family move into a house that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. That's literally all I know, which is it's creepy anyway. But yeah, the way it's written, I'll show you. Look at that. So some of it's like normal text, and then sometimes it'll just be a little bit of a word. You see? Like, what's going on? Some's crossed out, some's highlighted. Yeah, I'm really thoroughly looking forward to this. I have posted a couple of TikToks on this book on my Book Talk channel, and so many people have commented saying like, oh yeah, I read that so many years ago and it is still kind of haunts me to this day. I still think about it all the time, and I love that. That's what I want books to do. I want books to make an impact. I want books to make an impression. Yeah, I really want to start this. I think it's going to be fantastic. Okay, another one that I am ashamed to say that I've never read, and that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Now I have a beautiful illustrated edition that I treated myself to like 5 or 6 years ago now. There are some beautiful illustrations. Let me try and find one for you. Oh, there you go. That was a fantastic one right there. Look at that. Isn't that just incredible? There's some phenomenal illustrations, and I don't know why I've never read it. It's just one of these books that's just kind of slipped my radar. Look at this picture. I think that's the one on the back as well. So yeah, Dracula by Bram Stoker. By Bram Stoker. I don't know why I've never read it. I really should have. I really want to get to it this October for spooky season, but I don't know if I'll be able to, but maybe in November. I just feel like it's a book I really need to read, and I don't know why I haven't yet. So another one on my list, and also a recommendation for you guys. It's kind of one of the classics in horror literature. This recommendation is from BookTok. If you don't go on BookTok a lot or at all, basically there is an obsession over an author called Colleen Hoover. I have 2 of her books now. I haven't managed to read any of them yet, but basically the obsession on BookTok for Colleen Hoover is just ridiculous. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. She's got a bunch of thrillers, and I picked up one. I found it in a charity shop actually for 99p, and it's in fantastic condition. I could not believe my luck. Yeah, I got Verity by Colleen Hoover, go figure. This is a romantic thriller, and it sounds fantastic. Basically, it's about a woman who is brought in by someone's husband, who represents a famous author. Now this author, his wife, is injured and is unable to finish her manuscripts off. So her husband brings in a struggling writer to go through the manuscripts and finish off the books for her. But basically the only writing that she can find in this author's study is like an autobiography of Verity, who is the author, of her life, and there's just apparently, well, from what I read, there's just some big confessions, some things that like Verity would never want anyone to know, and basically this writer kind of hides it, but then she starts falling in love with her husband and thinks maybe I should tell him that his wife is like done all this stuff in the manuscripts. So yeah, that sounds really interesting. Romantic thriller, I love the sound of that. And yeah, everyone is raving about this book on BookTok, like everyone. So yeah, that was on my to read list. I also want to read a couple of graphic novels, which you would have seen if you saw my last video, which I will tag here. I got a few Junji Ito graphic novel, manga books, horror books. And I have yet to read Gaio and Komi. I really want to read both of these. So yeah, these are on my to read list for October. Both spooky books, spooky season, it makes sense. So yeah, these are on my to read list as well. If you look at my previous video, I talk about them in that. So yes, these two. There's also a book. So there's a book series. This is the fifth book in the series now. It is by E.S. Thompson, and it was probably one of my favourite series that I read last year, and it was the Beloved Poison series by E.S. Thompson, and it is basically about a main character called Jem Flockhart, who is a female in disguise as a man, and she is living in Victorian London, and she's an apothecary basically, and she has to pretend to be a man in order to run an apothecary shop and take over her father's business. She works in an infirmary. I'm just telling the kind of premises of the first book because I don't want to spoil the others. But she works in an infirmary, and basically it's kind of like a murder mystery reverse Sherlock Holmes in Victorian London, where she's solving murders, but she's using her kind of apothecary medicinal skills. E.S. Thompson, the writer, is actually a historian of medicine. She's got like a PhD in it, so she really knows her stuff. It's quite gruesome, but it's fantastic. I loved the book so far, and she's just brought out the fifth book, which is Nightshade. And look at the covers, aren't they gorgeous? So yes, I cannot wait to read this book. I'm so excited. It's just a really good series, please read it. I really, really enjoyed it. and I cannot wait for the 5th book. House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. And let's just take a minute to appreciate that cover, shall we? It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. Okay, so I'm going to read the synopsis of this because this was recommended on Book Talk and I picked it up as a kind of whim in Waterstone, so I don't actually know much about it, but yeah, I am really looking forward to reading it. So, dark, dangerous things happen around the Hollow sisters ever since they disappeared as children, only to reappear a month later, with no memory of what happened to them. Odd, eerie occurrences follow in their wake. When Grey, the eldest, goes missing again, Iris and Vivi are left to figure out the mystery, but they aren't the only ones looking for her. As they brush against the supernatural, Iris realises that the world that they returned them 10 years ago might be calling them back. But just how much horror lies beneath the surface. Okay, that sounds really interesting. I'm terrible for buying books that are recommended and not reading the synopsis, but I sometimes like that. I sometimes like just diving into a book and not knowing anything about it. So I'm thoroughly excited to read this. This is very popular on Book Talk, and I imagine for good reason, so really looking forward to reading this. And then last but certainly not least of my physical books is A Discovery of Witches trilogy by Deborah Harkness. Now, I have heard fantastic things about this again on Book Talk. There is A Discovery of Witches, the Book of Life, and then Shadow of Night. So, I mean, they're just gorgeous anyway. And there's also, it is now a popular TV show. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading the books and then watching the TV show. I wanted to get to them this October, but I think it might have to wait a little bit because I know with all the books that I still have to read, I'm not getting through all of these 3. A world of witches, demons and vampires, a manuscript which holds the secrets of their past and the key to their future. Diana and Matthew, the forbidden love at the heart of it all. Yeah, that sounds really good. It sounds like it's got a bit of everything in, very supernatural, and I've heard incredible things, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading those 3. Okay, so those are all my physical books. Now I do have a couple of ebooks that I really wanted to get to. Whether I will, we'll see. So one of my favourite authors of all time is Darcy Coates. I imagine I've said this quite a few times on my channel now. I'm sorry if I'm repetitive, but I really love her writing style. The majority of her books are ghost stories, haunted houses, monsters, zombies, all that kind of good stuff. And I love all of her books. I've read, I would say, a solid 90% of everything she's written, and she's written a lot. And I've just loved all of it. And she recently brought out a new book called The Haunting of Lee Harker. Now, I listened to kind of a podcast with her. I stayed up late, till 4 a.m. to listen to this because she's in Australia. And I was so glad I did because she mentioned that she was bringing out this book, and she said that it was the scariest book that she had ever written, which I'm all here for. I really want to read it. But yeah, I really recommend Darcy Coates if that is kind of the books that you like. I love them. I wanted to read Bunny. I've heard a mixture of things about this book on BookTube and a little bit on BookTok, but not a great deal. But basically, I've just heard that either you really love it or you really kind of don't. And I hope I'm one that really loves it. Apparently it's a really strange, really weird book. I'm going to pull the synopsis up. Samantha couldn't be more of an outsider in her small, highly selective MFA program at New England's Warren University. A scholarship student who prefers the company of her dark imagination of that of most people, she is utterly repelled by the rest of her fiction-writing cohort. A clique of unbearable twee rich girls who call each other Bunny and seem to move and speak as one. But everything changes when Samantha receives an invitation to the Bunny's fabled smut salon and finds herself inexplicably drawn to their front door, ditching her only friend Ava in the process. As Samantha plunges deeper and deeper into the Bunny's sinister yet saccharine world, beginning to take part in the ritualistic off-campus workshop where they conjure their monstrous creations, the edges of reality begin to blur. Soon her friendships with Ava and the Bunnies will be brought into deadly collision. The spellbinding new novel from one of our most fearless chronicles of the female experience, Bunny is a down-the-rabbit-hole tale of loneliness and belonging, friendship and desire, and the fantastic and terrible power of the imagination. Okay, that sounds like I don't know what I was expecting, but I really wasn't expecting that. But it sounds really good. I do enjoy a good, academic club occult style books, like Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. I read that last year and I absolutely loved it. That was fantastic. It was very dark, gritty, academic, like clubs where they do dark occult magic and summonings and things like that. And I really enjoyed that. So that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I really hope I enjoy it. Again, I've heard fantastic things, and I've also heard people really don't like the writing style. So we shall see. But yes, I really wanted to read Bunny by Verity Award. We'll see if I get to it. I will at one point, but maybe not this month. Okay, and now the final book that I'm going to talk about today is The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. From reading the synopsis of this, there's a movie, I think it was called Witch. I think it was just called Witch. And that movie freaked me out. It was so just creepy and unsettling. It was one of those movies that really stuck with me. And I watch a lot of horror movies. I literally, if I'm not reading horror books or fantasy books, I'm watching horror movies. Like, there's no in between. That is one of the movies that has really stuck with me. I watched it one time, and all I can remember is the sense of dread I had with it the entire way through. Now, as I'm reading the synopsis of The Year of the Witching, I am getting very similar vibes from The Witch. So I'll quickly read the synopsis for you. And you can let me know, if you have seen The Witch, do you think that you get similar vibes like I do? It might just be me, but yeah, I'm definitely getting those kind of really satanical, unnerving vibes. So yeah, I'll quickly read the synopsis. So, a young woman living in a rigid, puritanical society discovers dark powers within herself in this stunning feminist fantasy debut. Yes, we like feminist debuts. In the lands of Bethel, where the prophet's word is law, Emmanuel Moore's very existence is blasphemy. Her mother's union with an outsider of a different race cast her once proud family into disgrace. So Emmanuel does her best to worship the Father, follow holy protocol, and lead a life of submission, devotion, and absolute conformity, like all the other women in the settlement. But a mishap lures her into the forbidden dark wood surrounding Bethel, where the first prophet once chased and killed 4 powerful witches. Their spirits are still lurking there, and they bestow a gift on Emmanuel, the journal of her dead mother, who Emmanuel is shocked to learn once sought sanctuary in the wood. Fascinated by the secrets in the diary, Emmanuel finds herself struggling to understand how her mother could have consorted with those witches, but when she begins to learn grim truths about the church and its history, she realises the true threat to Bethel is its own darkness. And she starts to understand that if Bethel is to change, it must begin with her. I'm really, really looking forward to reading this. Yeah, it does give me that kind of vibes. I do enjoy historical fiction / occult horrors, and also it's feminist. What more could you possibly want? So yes, I don't think I've gone through all of them. There are a couple of other kind of outliers, but they're the main books that I really want to read, and I know I won't be able to finish them this October, but maybe November, maybe December. But yes, I am super excited about reading all of these books. I hope I haven't rambled on too much. I sincerely apologise if I have. I'm just very passionate about books, and horror books are my thing. So yes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you would like to see more of my videos. You will get notifications of when I post. If you're wanting more book recommendations or book reviews or just general reading vlogs, because I do them sometimes as well. Yes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I am just so grateful that you are here, and I will hopefully see you all in the next one. Alright, bye guys.